I've spent a decade taking a bite out of conspiracy theories, unraveling urban legends, and grappling with worldwide top-secret issues. I've even racked up some of their awards, all while ferreting out the bottom line. On all topics, controversial, bizarre, and taboo. Interviewing movers and shakers, agitators and muckrakers.
But that doesn't answer my question. That is all I'm answering.
With me, Cary Harrison, as your guide.
And this is going to affect you and me, by the way, because it all revolves around how stuff works. And the way we're enjoying it now could change forever if the actors, if the people in the factory get screwed. And that's what we're trying to avoid. I want to introduce to you first Frances Fisher, award-winning actor. You know her from Titanic. You know her from, I believe you were in a soap opera for 5 or 6 years.
The Edge of Night.
The Edge of Night.
Unforgiven. Yeah.
Everything. So we know her face. We also know her from activism and for literally saving all the residents of Earth single-handedly. Next to her, or next to me rather, is Jane Austen. She's Secretary-Treasurer of the Negotiating Committee for SAG-aftra. And next to her in the middle is David Jolliffe. He's on the SAG-aftra board and the Negotiating Committee. And we're just going to boil down right now. You guys have to make a decision in front of you, and what you're being given is, should we say, not your favorite flavor?
I'd like to start with that. Thank you
Please.
first off for having us here today so that we can get the message out and maybe clarify some confusion that's floating out there in the within our membership.
Yeah.
And not to correct you, but I'm the National Secretary-Treasurer
Thank
of
you.
the union and the Los Angeles President and a member of the Negotiating Committee. What the new contract has is trying to codify is that when you travel to producer's base, you still will get flown there.
Yeah.
You'll get a reduction in your pay from the daily contract, which is $933 to $500 to get paid to travel. You'll still get the hotel and you'll get per diem, but your time starts when you get to set. So if you have to travel an hour to work and an hour back, instead of getting a 12-hour turnaround, you're only getting a 10-hour turnaround. And in my opinion, it is a huge safety issue.
Well, it's also the new shared economy that we're supposed to be. It's Uber for actors. We'll pay you when the meter is running, but we'll decide when the meter starts running. Now, the meter may be running for the producers, for the studio heads. In fact, the meter is perpetually running 24 hours a day for everyone else. But for you, Timmy, you that we're putting on the screen,
now everyone else has a shorter turnaround also. Their time gets compressed, just like our time gets compressed. You know, we went in there into this negotiation to try to work on this whole situation of producer's base, away from home, how best to handle this. And we went in to disavow the practices that they were using.
Yeah.
And instead, we ended up codifying them. I am such a big no on this, I can't tell you. There's so many other things also, the giveaways that have happened in this contract. But on the travel thing, they codified what we were trying to.
So just to be clear, and I'm just going to jump in here for a second and steer me if I'm wrong, but just to be clear, it's just another transfer of wealth to the top.
Well, the thing is, the studios get all the saved overtime. You know, they don't have to pay overtime now, and then the turnarounds and everything like that. They're saving tons of money, and we are risking our lives, literally, because there have been crew who have fallen asleep at the wheel because they have not gotten enough sleep. And that's what we're trying to protect. This contract is for the people who cannot take care of themselves. It's a basic agreement. Movie stars and Emmy Award winners and stuff, you know, can take care of themselves because they can negotiate above scale. This is a scale contract. We're trying to protect the middle class.
So, like an airline pilot who is regulated by the FAA cannot fly more than X amount of hours. Flight attendants the same way because of the general safety of the aircraft and all the mammals that are stored in it that could go plummeting toward the ground irreparably.
Yes.
So the same thing, these laws are put in because we know for a fact, same in the military, that a pilot who has not had his nap is going to have a crash. So they're removing that protection from you, and we don't know what's going to happen when you're hanging on a string in a shot upside down, sideways, or a stunt person.
Well, it used to be when we went on location, we
Yeah.
were on location, and production. They assumed those costs
Yeah.
of traveling you, of housing you, of transporting you. Now what's happened is that production cost burden, has been transferred over to the actor.
Because we are now local hires.
Because we're local in that area. So when they shoot a series in
Oh.
Dubuque, Iowa, we're now all
Okay.
Dubuqueans. Is that correct?
Yes.
Dubukeites?
Say it in that voice
Hello,
you do.
Iowa.
We're the Dubuqueans.
Yeah. So here's and another issue is that I went to Atlanta for a visit, and I went to 3 different very popular television show
Yeah.
sets as in my capacity of my executive officer, and I spoke with the series regulars, and their biggest complaint is that they were exhausted. And I said, well, you get your forced calls, and they said, we don't care about necessarily that forced call. We need our sleep so that we can be safe, so that we can. Because what used to take 12 days to shoot an episode of television,
Yeah.
they're now doing in 9.
That's right.
So they're doing 14-hour days is the norm. And so if the actors are exhausted, the whole crew is exhausted, especially the ones that are first in and last out.
And if you're doing stunts, you have a 9-hour turnaround, so that lessens it. That's why when you mentioned forced calls means production has to ask you if you would be willing to waive your forced call and not get a 12-hour turnaround, maybe to get a 10.5 or 11. I have always said no, because I know that if I allow my call to be forced, it's going to fuck the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oops, hold on.
What? This is radio.
Oh.
So and to that point so factor in that you have set to set versus portal to portal. So what that basically has done is allowed your rest time to be cut depending on how far you have to travel from set to where you're staying or where you live.
And if you're working all the time, then you don't have time to fuck the crew, and that's going to upset people too. So I see problems.
just to make you feel better.
It's going sound.
So we don't want to sound like prima donnas, like well, we're not being paid and we don't get our 12. This is how the business is done.
Yeah.
It's always been done that way.
And this is a new practice that's happened has evolved over the past 3 or 4 years of shooting outside of Los Angeles or New York or wherever your home base is, and them bringing you into these small locales around the world and saying that you're a local hire. And using all of the local rules and regulations.
Right, local ordinances.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're on location. We are away from home.
Right.
So we have to, let alone carry all of the financial burdens of our home. Then you have to rent someplace to live on this location. You have to have transportation, rent a car, lease a car, whatever.
Bring your kids.
What are you going to do with the kids? You bring them with you, boom, flying back and forth. They have, in this deal, they've given us a $10,000 per season relocation fee. Well, if you're doing 15, 16, 22 episodes, that's 7, 8, 9 months. How long is $10,000 going to last you to rent a car, to fly your kids back and forth? They'll give you one set of round-trip tickets for that season. House yourself, do all of these, keep 2 households going. It's going to last you 2 months, 3 months, maybe 4. If you find a place for $1,500, $2,000 a month. These all used to be production costs that have now been laid on us. Jane can tell you that she's gotten an estimate on what, over the term of the contract, this actually will cost actors. I don't know.
Yes, and I actually approached the union, and from their chief economist, I asked him flat out. I said, okay, so great. They used to only get X amount, 6,000 to 10,000 for one season, regardless how long the show went. Great. In this 3-year period of time, we codified, or we will codify if it passes, 10,000 per year if it's goes up to 4 years. But let's just look at
for 13 episodes.
Yes, for 13 episodes or less. So let's just look at the 3-year period of this contract. So I asked the man at the union, and I said, so what, with this gain of 10,000 per season, what is it actually going to cost these series regulars out of their own pocket for the 3-year period of this contract? And his answer was $16.8 million.
Yeah, we see this as a ubiquitous issue across the country, where we were told, I remember famously by George W. Bush, that we could now own our health insurance rather than have the companies that we slaved our lives away for actually participate in Band-Aids and heart transplants and such, that you could own that. And it's the same kind of thing where you now are at the self-serve pump more and more, but told that this is what liberty looks like. And it's just good old-fashioned theft. So let's boil it down for people that are actors that are watching right now, for people that want to be actors that are watching right now, for people that can participate in this vote. A no vote stops this bad thing from happening. What is the alternative then?
Go back to the table.
I will tell you one thing. In the history, I think, of the union, I don't think a contract has ever not passed. And I will tell you something. This will be a very strong message to the AMPTP.
Which is management.
Which is
Studios.
management, which is the studios. That's who we negotiate
Yeah.
against. That this is unacceptable. That we are the largest union of actors in the world, 160,000 strong, and we do not accept this.
I think it's already. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, but I think that will be a very loud message to show just really, truly how strong we are. And, and like I said, we're representing the middle class performers, not the superstars. I mean, the background performers. Just you and me.
Just workaday people who are trying to pay their rent.
Right.
I'm just going to reintroduce you quickly as we wrap this up. We're talking to Frances Fisher, whom you see on the left, on my left anyway. You know her from Edge of Night, Unforgiven, Titanic, True Crime, Resurrection. Next to her is David Jolliffe. He's on the SAG-aftra board negotiating committee. I apologize if I'm not giving all of your full CV here.
That's okay.
But I have the abbreviated version. Jane Austen next to him, the National Secretary Treasurer.
Grand Poobah.
Imperial Wizard, and also part of the negotiating committee.
And also, we are members of Membership First. If you go to membershipfirst.com, you can click on the button at the top of the page and see our minority report that discusses a lot more issues than the one we talked to you guys about right now. And
there's a lot more than just this.
Yeah, it's broken down to background performers and also
known as extras for the average person.
Right, yeah. And there's another election happening at the same time. They've double teamed the membership. We are voting for national president. Our nominee is Isai Morales.
Well, I love Isai Morales.
And we want Jane Austen to return.
My work is not done.
No, you
as
have
the
more books to
Secretary
write.
Treasurer. And we have local, people for the LA local board. So I hope everybody goes to membershipfirst.com to see our list of nominees.
Was that
And if we can-
membershipfirst.com?
Yes, membershipfirst.com. Because we need to get the board back.
Also,
like Congress.
Jane's running for Los Angeles president too.
Los
She is the
Angeles.
current Los Angeles president also.
Right.
And it's to your credit, Jane, that we have the largest surplus. I think historically, at least for decades, to withstand any type of work action that we would ever.
So I'm just going to bring this back to why this is relevant. What we see here happening with actors is happening to the American public generally.
Right.
Yes.
So to support the people that replicate the human condition that we all live in, we don't get to see this on the nightly news. We have to now look at fiction to find out what's going on in our reality. And you are the ones bravely who risk your careers to do maybe unpopular stuff, to tell the truth. What you do is way bigger than this. And what's happening to you is exactly what's happening to all of us. And if we can stop this happening to you, because what happens to you in the media capital of Earth, everyone else sees. What happens to us happens in the dark. So making this available for everyone to understand is going to have worldwide implications. So we need to support you.
Thank you
you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you,
Thank
Cary.
you.
All right, I feel better.
Saving the world.
Thank you guys
It's hard
for coming
saving
on.
the world. It's
well,
exhausting.
I know, it's full time. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank
We're
you
going to
so
have you
much for
back
having
as a
us.
follow-up.
Great.
Let me know how I can help if I can. And what was that website, Francis?
membershipfirst.com, and also on Facebook, Membership First, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Membership First.
And Jane Austen is available online as well.
Yes, the Stunt Jane is my Twitter and Instagram account, and my Facebook is Jane Austen Union News.
And my
And Membership
Instagram.
First.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Francis.
My Instagram is Francis Fisher, FranceSFisher, and my Twitter is Francis_Fisher, spelled the same way.
And I'm a 64-year-old white guy, and I'm looking forward to getting a computer one day.
He's too busy working at the union for all of you guys.
All right, thank you guys. We'll be back with more in just a sec.